Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Friday. I'm Tony Haggerty, Haggerty10, as you can see from the Twitter handle. And I'm joined today by Sean Martin at Sean Martin TCW and Alison McConnell at Alibally76. How you doing, guys? You all right?
Oh, good.
Bad, Tony, aye.
Yes.
Yourself?
Not too bad indeed. Now, we'll do the housekeeping as we always do every day. Flag up our sponsors, One Football app. You download the One Football app, it's one-stop football shop for scores, news, lineups, transfer rumours, live streaming, match highlights, and much, much more. Get yourselves onto the One Football app, guys. Immerse yourself in the digital football world and get the best personal digital football experience out there. And we thank them for the sponsorship of the programme and the daily podcast. Now, guys, we were going to come on and talk about our end of season awards, but just before we came on, there was news from Japan, and that Reo Hatate is a surprise omission from the Japanese squad. Alison, does that shock you a wee bit, or do you think that Reo Hatate maybe just needs a rest?
I think I was surprised. I expected him to be included in it. I think he's had a fairly positive impact at Celtic over the last few months. I think you could see that he tired in patches, but I think he was in the last squad. I think he was called up. I think Sean and I were saying it was his debut call up for the senior side. I thought maybe he would have done enough to keep his place, but I think the other side of that argument is it'll be to Celtic's benefit that he's not away, and it gives him an opportunity for a rest and a proper break, because I think he's looked dead in his feet at times.
Yeah, I agree with that, Alison. I think he's looked a wee bit jaded in the last few games. Sean, do you agree with that? Do you think he's been a bit jaded and looked tired, maybe a bit fatigued?
I think he has, aye. I think the comments that I've thrown up there, they're all kind of spot on. I think from a Celtic point of view, as much as you want to see, and Ange Postecoglou said before, you want to see players get rewarded and capped for their national teams and all of that. From a Celtic point of view, similar to the way that I says it's probably a blessing in disguise that Anthony Ralston didn't get the call up from Scotland the last time. It's probably a blessing for Reo Hatate to get that extra rest, because he has looked jaded. You've got to remember, although he's 24, he's not been playing senior football all that long. Never mind the intensity at Celtic. So there's all that kind of to consider. Now his teammates Kyogo and Dazin Maeda, they're both in the squad, so they'll be away. And this is it's like a 28-man squad, and they play friendlies, and then it's for the Kirin Cup, if you remember that.
Yes, Scotland won that once, didn't they? I believe.
Yes, they did. They'll cut that squad down again, so I think probably the two of them will be in it, but we'll see. I think they'll cut it down to 23. But in terms of Hatate, I think the comments that I've been putting up is exactly the viewpoint of the majority of fans. I would think no travelling, no extra games, get him, let him have a rest, get back in for pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, he, as Alison said, he made a great impact, didn't he? I'm thinking particularly of the Rangers game in February where he scored twice and seemed a bit bemused by it all, didn't he?
I think his impact was immediate when he arrived. I think he came first team ready, which isn't sometimes, I think, particularly with January signings, I think you always have a question mark over that. I think the majority of the signings that were made in the middle of the season all came in and made an impact. If you look at Matt O'Reilly, I know Adiguchi, you would expect maybe more to come, but I think, I thought he was excellent. I thought he made a very seamless arrival. I think the game against Hearts, the game against Rangers, I thought he showed up particularly well. And I think you've seen that in flashes. I do think he had a real dip. I think there was a point where he looked knackered, for want of a better word, to use an expression that might not translate readily. There was a point where I thought he looked exhausted. And I think he probably will benefit from an extended period of time off. And it's one of the real graces, I think, of knowing that you've assured Champions League group stage football next season, is that you can give players an extended break. That one, you're not coming back and going straight bang into massive competitive games that shape your season, set the tone for the season. I think there's an assurance there that you know exactly what's ahead of you. You can plan accordingly, and I think you're not back so early either that you can really afford a physical and a mental break. And I think the mental break is probably every bit as important as the physical break.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sean Alison used a great word there, knackered. I try to be a wee bit more upmarket and say fatigued. But yeah, he's a bit of both, isn't he? I think we all saw at the end of the season he just looked pretty shattered and out on his feet, and as Alison says, could probably do with the rest. And it's to Celtic's benefit, maybe not the Japanese national team's benefit, but as you said as well, that Ange is always encouraging about players playing for the national team. So here's hoping he can get back in the future. And I think
it's, as he said, it is it's a reward, and it reflects well on the club. The more international players you've got, even though it's more difficult to kind of juggle and all that, and there's more risk of injury and the travelling and all of that, it does reflect well on the club when your players are getting called up to the international teams, especially an international squad like Japan's, because it's quite a formidable squad. So to get in it, he'll be disappointed, you would imagine, not to be recalled again, because he made his debut with his first cap against Vietnam the last time. But ultimately, he probably knows himself an extended rest. He mentioned it in the press in Japan and stuff. So I think it probably will benefit him in the long run.
Excellent. Now, Sean, we did our end of season awards, didn't we? Yourself, myself, and Alison, and we've come up with you came up with the categories, and it's all on the website if you want to have a look. And if you see along the bottom, you can subscribe to the website, £3 for 3 months. You just hit the subscribe button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Now, Sean, you set Alison and I a task, and yourself. Just remind us of those categories, Sean, again.
There's a few. It's nothing too serious, Tony. It's not like that Academy. There was no Chris Rock, no Will Smith, nothing like that. Goal of the season.
Which is who? You know, who is
probably more likely to be me at that moment. Take Greg Taylor's name out of your mouth.
Pleading the fifth.
So I thought it was just some of your stereotypical categories. So goal of the season, had a signing of the season, comeback of the season was one, maybe not a stereotypical one. Most improved player, 12th man of the year, which is maybe a wee bit of my basketball fandom coming out there again, the 6th man of the year. Save of the season, which in hindsight, I mean, it was only ever going to be one guy really competing for that, wasn't it? But and then best Celtic social media post, because we are a digital platform after all.
Yeah.
I also done. None of them are on here today, although some of them might be on over the summer. But I get the data and analytics writers for the site, so the likes of Ross Goodwin, James Daly, Owen Brown, etc., to nominate and justify their own player of the season, in contrast to our kind of what you called the eye test player of the season, Tony, that we done the other day. Had to get them to justify it with data, so they had the expected player of the season. They picked Jota, by the way, and justified it really, really well.
Excellent. Well, we'll have a goal of the season. What did you pick, Alison?
I think I went for Matt O'Reilly's goal against St Johnstone.
Yeah, you did.
It was a real team goal. I thought it just showcased the collective. I thought, and I think it's fair to say by the point that the goal came, St Johnstone were out on their feet, given what had gone before. They'd been battered. But I just thought it was a season in microcosm, almost. You had the style of play that Ange Postecoglou wishes to implement. You had a lot of key players involved in it. It was very patient, it was aggressive, and it was a fine finish too. So I thought there was an argument for that. I think I would be open to discussion on it. I'd be happy to discuss the merits of it. I think there were a few that could be genuine contenders. I thought Kyogo's goal in the League Cup final, the lob, was excellent, and also I think you have to mention the magnitude of the occasion to go and do that in a final. And he'd just come back. If you remember, he'd been injured, then come back, and then that was him back out again. And again, I even thought the goal on Saturday, I think it was Celtic's third and Kyogo's second of the day. The very clever ball from Anthony Ralston, and then the way that Kyogo just volleyed it, just cushioned it and just guided it past her. It was just tremendous technique.
Sean, your own?
I'm just going to put up Patrick's comment first. That's
that was one of my contenders.
Great shout. That's not what I picked either, although I did pick a Kyogo goal. But get your comments in, guys, because we're always happy to be told we're wrong and to pick a different goal. We've all picked a different goal, to be fair. I picked if you listen regularly, you'll probably not be surprised. I picked the Kyogo chest finish up at Pittodrie. which I've went on about a few times
You
this
like
season.
that,
For some reason, it's everything about it. How quickly he's thinking. He's already. I mean, it's a really quick throw from Turnbull, and Kyogo's already kind of trying to move before it. He's spun round the back of the defenders. The Dons defenders still don't know what's happening, and then to chest it in as well. It's just cheeky at the end of it as well. So that was mine.
My own goal was the second goal against Bayer Leverkusen, which, if you remember it was, if the phrase Ange ball takes off, this was made for Ange ball, where Joe Hart plucked a cross out there, shelled it to James Forrest, who controlled it with a back-heeled cushion pass to, I think it was Turnbull, who gave it to Beaton, who gave it to Kyogo, who shunted it to Jota. And it was just bump, bump, bump. It was a brilliant counter-attacking goal against a really good side. And for Celtic to take a lead 2-1, unfortunately succumbed to 2 late goals. But I just thought, like Alison said, it was microcosm of the way the manager wanted Celtic to play. Just a brilliant attacking football goal, European-style goal. And I was really impressed with it, and just a pity they couldn't hold on. But like Alison, those contenders that you named, Kyogo's lob, O'Reilly's goal, I wrestled with myself over those ones about should I put it in or not. But I just like the front to back, or back to front goal, if you want to call it. Just the fact that it started with Joe Hart, and every touch in it was brilliant. It was executed with real precision and clinicalness. So I was, that was my favourite goal.
I almost forgot about the clinic. Apparently, that's
I mean, this is the brilliant thing about it. It's all the Celtic supporters will have a different goal. You know, Hatate's bullet I saw getting a mention. Yeah, that was a tremendous strike as well. You know, so
the next category was, as I say, right. The only instruction that you were given, you can confirm, was to interpret it any way you wanted, and that it had to be Celtic related. So the next category was signing of the season, and admittedly, I've copped out there. I've definitely copped out there, because I've picked, maybe sentimentally, I've picked Ange Postecoglou as the signing of the season, and I could imagine when you've read it, you're going, he's copped out there.
I would agree with that, Sean, but I genuinely thought you meant players. So I think me and Alison agreed. Was it Kyogo? We both.
Yeah, you did. The two of you agreed.
I think it's so. I actually would take your point, Sean. I think Ange Postecoglou's been huge for Celtic. I think a massive success. I think to come in, I don't think you can underestimate the work that he done in a very short space of time and the impact that he had very quickly. I think there were a lot of different strands that needed to be pulled together with a very little amount of time to play with before competitive football started. I think I would agree with you. I think you cannot play down his influence at all. But in terms of players and signings, I just don't think you can look beyond Kyogo Furuhashi. And I think the real excitement, I suppose, from Celtic fans now is if he stays fit over the course of a full season. I think easily you would be expecting him to hit 30 goals easily and possibly more. But I think he's a fantastic footballer. I think he's such a joy to watch. Anyone who has that level of ability, intelligence, movement, anticipation, I think it's a pleasure to watch it.
See, the thing is, Tony, I think that's a great comment, because, I mean, we've seen the other day when we were doing our collated player ratings and stuff. Carter Vickers has been that consistent all season. Sorted out a problem position, because centre-back was a problem. Then again, if you're going to go with sorting out a problem position, Joe Hart might be up there for you. Kevin Ferrer, if you're going to judge it on price performances compared to price paid, Matt O'Reilly, I think he's on for a great season next year.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it's one of those where if you're going to pick a player, which is why I copped out, there is numerous that could be up there.
I don't disagree with any of the shouts.
Yeah.
Because you have a rationale for it.
Yeah, Carter Vickers definitely deserves a mention. I think Jota would deserve a mention. O'Reilly, I think, and Joe Hart. I think Joe Hart has to come in and what you give. I think this very porous back line that you saw last season, the fragility that you could sense in games when Celtic went behind, like you could feel the collapse coming almost at times. And I think the likes of Joe Hart and Cameron Carter-Vickers, I thought they were huge in eradicating that and just lending a sense of assurance to that back line, a sense of calmness.
Yeah, I just think that when Ange came in and he brought in Kyogo was his trailblazer.
Yeah.
And running, and
Mhm.
it showed up his wealth of knowledge as well, the managers of the J League, because there was eyebrows raised when he brought Kyogo in. No question about it. And I just think that it vindicated Ange himself, in the position, and he vindicated his decision to bring Kyogo to Scotland and the others that followed. So yeah, I just think it was very important. It was important for everybody, for Ange and the player himself, to show that they could play in Europe and make a telling contribution. And they all have.
Hugely influential very quickly. I
Yeah,
think
he hit the ground running. It was just that
he took on the mantle of their talisman very quickly. And I think where that's best shown was the League Cup final. There was a real push to get him back in for that game. Probably it cost him then, a couple of months in being sidelined. But I think just because he lent so much to Celtic in terms of lifting players round about him.
And there was that great moment in the League Cup final in the celebrations where he's hugging Kyogo. It's as if it's a father picking up his son that he's won the trophy. It was just that kind of, that passion and that embrace, and just the kind of two of them having that moment and saying, "This is why we're here. This is why we came. We came here for this kind of thing." So I totally agree, Alison, that he's become talismanic, and with a fully fit Kyogo, I agree. I think 30 goals is I think that's a decent enough
signing of the century, not just of this season. I suppose Henrik Larsson was the last century, so that's fine. The next category was comeback of the season. Now, again, interpret it any way you want, and we actually, I think, all interpreted it differently. Tory, you went with the 2-1 win at Ibrox.
Yeah,
I picked on-pitch comeback.
I picked an on-pitch comeback because I just thought the way they started that game and, was really, really poor. And, after 3 minutes, the noise was incredible, and the goal, and considering what the game meant, that Celtic could go 6 points ahead and effectively put one hand on the Scottish Premiership trophy. And they'd rallied within 4 minutes. And it was the captain that helped them rally. He caused the move and ran forward, and Tom Rogic scored the equaliser. And I've mentioned it a few times. They never really celebrated the equaliser because they were so annoyed with themselves for not starting the game so well. And it's only after that they turned it on and they started to play, because they went, right, we're back in it. Let's get to work. And from that moment on, they got themselves in front with Carter Vickers' goal. And then in the second half, Carter Vickers and Starfelt Taylor came into their own. The way they defended, they were all terrific. They were never really in any bother. Joe Hart had one save from Scott Arfield. I think you mentioned it, Alison, in one of your. I think that was your saving of the season, possibly. And I just thought it was a brilliant team performance, and coming back from that kind of adversity so soon in a game that meant so much to both teams. And it was Celtic never looked back after that. It gave them the belief and the strength and the character to say, we can do this, we can see this over the line. And that's inevitably what happened.
Alison, you picked the campaign as a whole, which I think is fair enough. And that's kind of what Patrick's getting at here. 7 points behind in October, and then coming back 32 games and won the league.
Yeah, I think it was such an inauspicious start to the campaign. I think going out of the Champions League at the early stage, and can't remember how many years, but going out at the first hurdle against Midtjylland and then defeat at Tynecastle the opening night of the season, and then just a sequence of results that just didn't augur well for what lay ahead. And then to ship 11 points across the first 7 games, and then to steady and go on a run of 32. I think to be behind the way that they were and come back to win it and to get themselves on top in February, I think for me that was the comeback of the season.
Now I did actually go individual rather than an on-field thing. I never picked Gavin Stratton and John Kennedy, but I think that's a great shout, to be honest, because I went in a similar vein though, and someone kind of redoing their reputation, and that was Joe Hart I went with. The way that I put it was, have you ever seen Trainspotting?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Trainspotting where Sick Boy is basically saying that his theory of life is that you have it and then you lose it and you don't get it back. And I think a lot of people thought that was Joe Hart before he came to Celtic. And I think just the sheer scale of the turnaround, not in just the fact that he's playing, but he's playing well, the leadership role that he's took on at a big club again, a pivotal part of winning 2 trophies, taking the armband sometimes, and overhauled his image, which wasn't great north of the border before that, I don't think. Became a really popular player. I just think that in its totality is what a comeback. So I picked Joe Hart for it.
That's a good shoot.
Again, I don't think there's any wrong answers to these questions, is there? Because everybody will interpret them differently.
Did we all study arts degrees?
That
Did we all do arts degrees?
Yeah. I'll skate through some of them. Most improved player was unanimous. I think you can all guess it's well, there we go. Ralston. Tony Ralston. It was only going to be him. I think everybody. It was a foregone conclusion. The sheer improvement that he's had. The only other one I considered was Carl Starfelt for his kind of progression within the season. But nah, Ralston got to be 12th man of the year, which was kind of biggest impact from the bench. I think, Alison, you might have overthought it a wee bit because we did pick Giacomakis and you kind of ruled him out just because he'd started quite a few games.
Yeah,
which is fair enough. But...
Yeah, I thought, because I thought he kind of came to the fore then when Furuhashi was out injured, he kind of became the main man. But yeah, I thought that was a difficult one actually. I struggled with that one. Near Beaton, I think, came on and offered things in certain games, just helping to shore it up, just helping to see games out a couple of times, just lend a bit of experience. But yeah, I thought that was quite a difficult one, I have to say.
Save of the season, again, I'm kind of thinking in hindsight, I was going to have a cop out with that as well, and I was going to put Ange Postecoglou for saving Celtic from themselves after last season, but I'd already kind of used that trick, so I didn't feel right doing it twice. So I went with Joe Hart against Jablonec. Tony, you went with the Bayer Leverkusen save, and Alison, you went with the one from Scott Arfield against Rangers.
Yeah, I think I think you could probably have gone through and picked out half a dozen, to be honest. And I think that's a sign of a good goalkeeper when you are saving points, saving games, and making a different outcome happen. And I think that's when you know you have a very reliable goalkeeper.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's kind of why I picked that. It was like second game because I think he played the first away, didn't he? And then the home game. But it was when fans were back in at Parkhead, and it was a tie they were winning, right? But you just never know at that point, especially after last season. You never know with Celtic if they conceded, and he pulled off 2 saves in the 63rd, 64th minutes against Jablonec. One really good one probably run of the mill. But the reaction that they got, if you remember, was just so palpably relieved because last season, basically, people had become accustomed to if there was a shot against, there was a goal against. And I think that kind of set the platform for him in terms of getting accepted and his kind of confidence and then his resurgence after that and the influence he can have. So I picked that for that reason, even though he made better saves, if you know what I mean.
Patrick McLaughlin said that one, and that was initially my thought as well. But then I remembered the double save against Leverkusen where he saved his shot and then the boy had a tap in and he somehow managed to scoop it away from his feet. I mean, it was just an incredible save.
I remember. I'd actually forgot that until I looked up the clip for your choice.
And he had a wonderful game that night, Joe Hart, and he didn't deserve to be in a losing side, but Celtic just conceded 2 late goals. It was a real killer for them, which kind of done for them in the group, really. So, but I thought many players that night had a great game against real decent opposition, just unlucky. So.
It's not the last category. There are other ones, but I'm kind of skipping through them, and I'll put the link in the comments to read the full explanations and justifications, and there's stuff on social media about it and all of that. But the last one we'll do on the show before I hit Tony and Alison with a quiz that they didn't know was coming, was best Celtic social media post. Now, it maybe tells you something about the three of us that Tony's went for a tweet that I actually couldn't find, but I do vaguely remember. And Tony, do you want to say what it was?
It was the pastiche of every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings, and somebody had put up every time Tony Ralston scores, an apprentice Bricky gets a pay rise. I just loved that. I loved that thought, and yeah, likewise, I couldn't find the tweet, but I remember seeing it trending on social media, and it just tickled me because I love that film, and at that point for Tony Ralston, it was a wonderful life because I think it was in December and it came just after he scored against Ross County, so it was he was living his best life at that moment.
I cannot for the life of me find it. I can't find it anywhere, but I do vaguely remember it, and I remember you mentioning it in your piece at the time. But
my really funny.
My selection, and kind of regretting it now, but my selection, you'll have seen it in March, I think, was it, or was it early mid-April? Was the kind of mispost. The mistake was. Excuse me, I asked for the large fish. When the Celtic admin accidentally posted a picture of somebody out for their dinner. And again, that maybe says more about me than anything else that I've picked. That one is the one that popped into my head first, because I think the correct answer is the one that Alison went with when you consider the whole season and everything that's happened this season. Alison, your choice was?
I went for the footage that emerged from Ange Postecoglou's opening day training session. When you hear him, when he's talking with the players, and he says right away, "Get it into your heads. We never stop." And there you go. It gave birth to a catchphrase. It became the mantra of the season, and then they closed the season with it on the back of their shirts. But I think it was an accompaniment to the entirety of the campaign. I think it set a tone. But I also think too, I think we love a glimpse behind the curtain, don't we? You love to get a view of what's maybe going on behind the scenes, and I think especially when a new manager comes in and it gives you a bit of insight, and I think it's rare to see footage like that where guards are down and everyone is just very curious about what a new manager brings. But yeah, I thought it summed up the season.
And it's also summed up the season, Alison, that it wasn't empty rhetoric. No. It was what happened.
Yeah, I think
I
think there was a firmness to it too. I think, just the.
Sorry, that was a surprise award there that you've maybe seen a glimpse of.
But I thought, I think you love the idea of getting to see something that's not readily available. It's like, just like peeking through the fence almost.
Yep.
But I thought it set the tone. I know the feeling, Gerard.
There's one more before we do the quiz, and this is just because it had the three of us in stitches. So the inaugural comment of the season was when Tony turned round and went to get something out of that famous wardrobe of his behind him, and the panic in me and Alison's eyes must have been evident. I don't even know if he's on the day, but this Pat O comment had us in stitches. So that's a special award for Pat. I don't know where he is. I'd not seen a comment, so he's maybe not on, but it had us in stitches. So.
So did we.
Right, so I've got, because it's the end of the season, last episode of the week after the end of the season. I figured I'd hit the two years with a wee quiz, and it's nothing too difficult, and we'll see your answers first, I suppose. But keep in mind, there's a live audience here, not to put the pressure on or anything, but they might throw in answers when I ask a question here, and that's not to say that they'll be the right answers. So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Right, okay. It's 5 questions each, so best score out of 5, and and there's a tiebreaker if you happen to get it. So, right, Alison, ready? Question 1.
Right.
Who played more minutes in the league this season, Leo Labada or Anthony Ralston?
I'm going to say Anthony Ralston.
Correct. 2,367 to 2,319. Question 2.
Pressure on you.
No, for Alison, I'll just do all Alison's, and then that means the pressure's right on you when you need to do 5. Who had more goal contributions, which is just goals plus assists, in all competitions this season? Reo Hatate or Matt O'Reilly?
Matt O'Reilly.
Incorrect. Reo Hatate with 4 goals, 3 assists. O'Reilly had 4 goals and 2 assists. That's according to Y Scout, by the way, just in case anybody.
Just in case I need a steward's inquiry at the end of this.
Question 3. Who joined Stephen Welsh and David Turnbull on the score sheet for Celtic in the 3-2 win over Real Betis back in December?
Jota?
No, that was a team
Montgomery,
rotated, remember? I'm not going to... I'll pass it over, but you can't get the point, Tony.
No, it's Adam Montgomery, wasn't it?
No, Ewan Henderson.
Oh, Ewan Henderson.
Ewan Henderson, aye. 1 out of 3, Alison. Pressure's mounting. Question 4. Well, David Gillespie coming in with the answer there. Question 4. Joe Hart, Callum McGregor and Leo Labada all made over 50 appearances this season. Who was the only other Celtic player to reach that milestone?
Say that again. So Joe Hart,
Leo Labada and Callum McGregor all made over 50 appearances. Who was the only other Celtic player to reach that milestone?
Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Tony, you got a guess? You're not getting a point, but you got a guess.
Starfelt?
No, he was close. He was 49 appearances. It was actually Rogic.
Wow.
Yep.
Really?
McGregor then? Who was it?
Rogic.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It was. They were the only ones to be 50 appearances or more.
All right.
But right, where are we? Question 5, last question. Put a bit of pressure on Tony now. Come on. Who played the fewest minutes for the Celtic first team this season in all competitions? Was it Karamoko Dembele or Ewan Henderson?
I think Karamoke Dembele.
It was, even though he made 2 appearances, it was only 28 minutes, and Henderson got 29 against Betis. So correct. So that's 2 out of 5. Tony, do you fancy your chances?
No.
There's a couple of guys in the comments here that are getting them just as wrong as you guys.
I'll go with Gerald's comment earlier. I don't start. Right, go on.
There's a couple of ones getting it just there. Just Patrick McLaughlin, Starfelt, and then Dembele.
Yeah, I would have got
right,
that
Tony.
one.
Right, so your questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Put you out your misery, or you might surprise us here. Similar type questions. Who played more minutes in all competitions this season? David Turnbull or Jota?
Oh, I'm going to say Jota.
Turnbull. Turnbull played 3,268. Jota played 3,222, so about half of football between them.
That's like Celtic start to the season.
Question 2. Who had more goal contributions? So again, that's just goals plus assists in all competitions this season. Yeah. Josip Juranovic or Callum McGregor?
Oh, goodness. I'll say Juranovic.
Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor get 8 goal contributions, 4 goals, 4 assists. Juranovic had 7, 5 goals, I think all penalties. And 2 assists. Yeah. So suddenly Alison's very smiley here, so he thinks it's on. Question 3. Who scored the first competitive Celtic goal of the season?
Callum McGregor, wasn't it, against Michelin?
Was it?
I think so.
I'm going to Google this because you've just put the fear of God into me here. I don't think so. I've got Leo Labada.
I had Labada as well. I think it was Labada.
It was. You just put the fear of God into me there, Tony. It was Leo Labada, the home leg. The first leg.
Oh, good.
There we go.
I get a bonus point for that.
Backing me right up there. You can see the fear in my eyes there that I'd looked up the wrong game.
Am I getting a bonus point for knowing that?
Unfortunately not. No.
Half a bonus
point. You might not need a bonus point at this rate, to be honest. So
I think Beach Boy's right. I'm going to flick up this comment here. I'm having a ready winter.
Patrick, correct. First leg at Celtic Park. I just did a wee panic moment there.
That first leg was away. That was why.
So Tony, you need to get these two.
Yeah, for a draw. Yeah, I get that.
Question 4. Who made the most league appearances? Ismail Assoro or Albion Ayeti?
I can only get it wrong, so I'll say You
can get it wrong. It was Soro, 8 versus 7.
Seriously.
Have you ever heard the term grannied? Because you're on the verge of Alison beating you 2-0 here. Question 5, right, Tony? Come on. Who made more matchday squads? So just in the squad, don't need to have made an appearance or anything. Just who made more matchday squads? Christopher Jullien or Ball and goalie?
I'm going for the green and whitewash. I'll say Jullien.
That is Jullien. So it's a respectable 2-1 win to Alison. Fair play. Well done, Alison. No trophy. Just at the end of season awards, there's no trophies.
What's that?
The blind leading the blind in that one.
Oh, see, those kind of questions are like minutes and all that. I'm all right with goals possibly and stuff like that. Although I got that one wrong because I had it in my head the away leg was first for some reason. I don't know why, but
I think Arthur speaks for you, Tony. Where are you pulling these questions from?
Yes.
No, fair enough. It's a win for Alison.
Well done, Alison.
Season on a high, 2-1. Fair play. And I think
that's numbers on this book.
What's that?
I think that's Tony, is it?
Unbelievable, Jeff.
I like this question. Who's more tired, Hatate or Beaton?
Me.
Tony takes the biscuit here, I think.
And apologies because I think I let slip a wee swear word at one point because of that question. So I didn't mean it. So my apologies.
Pressure getting to you, Tony.
It was because I was having a Reggie Blinker, you know what I mean? So it was, frustration got the better of me. It was out of character. So I
just to rub it in, there you go, Alison. Your victory's been likened to the Ibrox one.
So one that just confirms top dog status.
I don't think Tony will appreciate being cast as the opposition in that analogy, but that's it. No trophy, just memories. That's
I was just delighted to get to the final. I'm proud of myself, even though you know what I mean.
All about the journey.
It's all about the journey from the living room to my bedroom. You know what I mean? Getting there in one piece. I knocked out some fiercely rabid dogs on the way here. You know what I mean? So I'm happy about that. You know, so yeah, that was a terrible performance. I blame the questions.
Most people do. I blame the ref. Would that be right?
I'm just looking for any excuse, really. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
I think I'm better than that. You know what I mean?
We'll see next time. Tony, I have good quizzes aplenty planned for this summer, so don't you worry. You'll have time to atone.
I'll need to study up on minutes, Alison. Minutes, appearances, assists, goals. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Sub appearances. I'll need to borrow the spreadsheet or steal it.
Stats are drier than Gandhi's flip flop.
Very much so. Very much. No, that was enjoyable, even though I get beat.
Thanks for your contributions as always, because you had a couple of guys in there with the right answers. A couple of guys in there clicked, switched on. But I think that's us, Tony. Take us out if you want.
I will do, guys. Remember, as you can see in the top right of the screen, or top left of the screen, the One Football app. It's the one-stop football shop for scores, news, lineups, transfer rumours, live streaming, match highlights, and a lot more besides. You can immerse yourself in a digital football experience and have the best personal digital experience out there. Download the One Football app, guys. Highly recommend it. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. Great gesture. Thanks very much. And running along the bottom, as usual, support the Celtic way. Support top quality journalism. Hit that subscribe button. You'll see wonderful videos like this. You'll see me making a cod of myself in the quiz, getting 1 out of 5. But £3 for 3 months. Oh, you know what to do. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. You can have all sorts of fun and read all the articles that are on the website. Some wonderful stuff on there, guys. Thanks for your contributions today, all day. I guess I did stop today.
Did you get started? That's the question.
Well, probably not. You know, when the fun stops, start. I think the fun definitely stopped for me. Well done, Alison. I'll be magnanimous in defeat and congratulate the winner there. Alison, that's the second trophy of the season Alan's won. Won a trophy earlier on this season, didn't you, Alison? Or earlier on in the week?
Did
you were
indeed.
the PLZ. What were you? What did you win?
Victor champion.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
Alison Cogley winning a double, was it?
I never won a thing in my life, and there you
Never in doubt.
saving it all for these moments.
Yes, the gloating starts now. Well done. Thanks a lot for your contribution, guys. Yep. Enjoy it. It's great fun every day. As you can see, we don't take ourselves that seriously. I'm kidding on. I'm away to Smart now and lie down and read up whatever Celtic stuff I can find. But no, have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you all again on Monday when we do it all again, because contrary to popular belief, we never stop. We're going through the summer. Alison, thanks a lot. Well done. Sean, that's a terrible quiz. You're going to have words off here. I'm a good loser, eh? There you go. Guys, have a good weekend. Take care. Thanks, Alison. Thank you, Sean.
Bye.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Alison. Thanks, guys.